They laughed at my dreams, called me a failure, the family disappointment. Then I won $112 million. Just when I thought I'd be free, they came back, begging for money, pretending to care. My sister sneered. You think you're better than us now? I said, no, Vanessa. I always was. You just never saw it. I didn't hand them cash, I gave them job referrals, because I wasn't asking for their approval. And I definitely didn't need their money. What happened next? This is the kind of revenge story they'll never forget. As I waited in the rain, I watched the movers load exquisite furniture that our parents had given us for our sister Vanessa's wedding into her new home. A $3.2 million home in one of Boston's most affluent neighborhoods. I was struggling to make ends meet while living in a tiny flat above the bookshop where I worked. My mother said, "Isn't it perfect for them?" Without observing how saturated I had been from standing outside. Vanessa and Bradley will be so happy here. And there's plenty of room for grandchildren. I forced a smile as I remembered the congrats card I had managed to purchase with my meager funds. It's beautiful, Mom. When Vanessa came out of the home, she was spotless in expensive clothes, and the little sunlight that came through the clouds caught her beautiful engagement ring. Clara, you finally made it. What do you think of our starter home? Starter house. As though a mansion for almost $3 million was merely a stepping stone. I said, it's lovely, managing. The perfect wedding present. Vanessa exclaimed, oh, don't be jealous, Maddie. Using the moniker I'd always detested. I'm sure you'll find someone special too. Maybe one of those nice boys at the bookstore. Our mom got right in. You know, the Henderson son is still single. He's an accountant now, very stable career. I refrained from speaking. I was writing my first novel and had a master's degree in literature at the age of 32. But to them, I was merely the family's letdown, the daughter who put her goals and books ahead of her safety. I should go, I muttered. My shift starts soon. Mom scowled and said, on a Saturday? But we're having a family dinner to celebrate Vanessa's house. Some of us have to work weekends. Vanessa's eyes rolled. Still so dramatic, Maddie, she said. This is why you struggle. You know, always choosing the hard way instead of accepting help. Help. Such as the full scholarship to business school that I declined. Like the job I'd turned down at Dad's company. Similar to the planned dates I'd shunned with decent men. They never realized that their assistance was always conditional. Golden shackles meant to mold me into their ideal of success. I said, the bookstore is short-staffed, and started to walk away. And I need the hours. Well, she said, at least take some leftovers home. I hate thinking of you eating alone in that tiny apartment. I kept the fact that my small flat was my haven a secret from her. A peaceful place with art, books, and tranquility. A space free from criticism where I could write. Have limitless dreams. I had my normal cup of coffee at Mr. Walter Finch's corner store the following morning. I was greeted with remarkable enthusiasm by Mr. Walter Finch, a grandfather figure who had been operating the shop for 40 years. Clara, did you check your ticket? Bewildered, I blinked. Then I thought of the lottery ticket I had purchased 2 days prior. A foolish impulsive buy made with my final $5 after the jackpot had reached record numbers. I answered, not yet, and took the crumpled ticket out of my wallet. What were the winning numbers? Mr. Walter Finch had glistening eyes. Check the news, sweetheart. After grabbing my phone, I navigated to the lottery website and watched as the following numbers showed up on the screen. 7, 13, 24, 31, 42, and 53. My hands began to shake. I glanced at my ticket before returning my attention to the TV. My voice was no more than a whisper. Mr. Walter Finch. I think I won. He smiled. I know you did, honey. I watched them draw your numbers live last night. All 6 matching numbers. You just won $112 million. The globe appeared to slant to one side. I took hold of the counter for balance. Mr. Walter Finch walked me up to a chair and urged softly, sit down before you fall down. Deep breaths. This is big news. But you need to be smart now. Don't tell anyone yet. Get a lawyer first. And for heaven's sake, sign that ticket. I signed the tickets back with shaky fingers. Mr. Walter Finch contacted his daughter, made me drink some water, and locked it in his safe. Elise will meet you in an hour, he replied. She's a respected financial attorney. She'll help you do this right. Still in a trance, I nodded. Mr. Walter Finch, my family. He gave me a shoulder squeeze. We'll deal with them soon enough. But right now, this is your moment. Don't let anyone take it from you. My phone buzzed while I waited for Elise. Vanessa texted. Family brunch tomorrow to discuss wedding plans. Wear something nice for once. And try not to be late like always. I gazed at the text. Recalled her mansion. Her ideal existence. The unending adulation from our parents. I had been the family's afterthought for 20 years. The daughter they dismissed as unproductive, lost, and unusable. At this point, I had 97 million grounds to disprove them. I responded to the text. Sorry, can't make it. I have something more important to do. I was telling the truth for once. I signed the last documents to claim my prizes 3 weeks later while seated in Elise's office. She had been of great assistance to me in establishing investment accounts, trusts, and unwavering privacy safeguards. Remember, she added, going over the paperwork, your name becomes public record once we submit these. Are you ready for that? I considered the adjustments I had already made. I left my boss a sizable check to assist hire and train my replacement when I quietly quit the bookstore. I had used a trust to keep my identity off of public records when I bought a lovely but modest house in a quiet neighborhood. In addition, I had started setting up my own publishing business since I was committed to giving other underappreciated authors a platform. I'm ready, I firmly declared. My face appeared on every Boston news outlet the following morning. Local writer wins $112 million lottery jackpot. Bookstore employee becomes multimillionaire overnight. Clara Westbrook claims record-breaking prize. My phone blew up. Former classmates. Distant family members. I was unexpectedly remembered by those I had forgotten. However, the texts I was anticipating arrived last. Vanessa first. OMG, Maddie. Why didn't you tell us? Call me immediately. Next, Mom. Clara Elizabeth Bennett. How could you keep this from your family? We're coming over right now. Where are you living? At last, Dad. Your mother is hysterical. Call us this instant. I settled into my new home office, made myself a cup of tea, and shut off my phone. I could see the garden beyond the window, where I intended to set up a reading nook. The moment seemed nearly heavenly as the morning sun softly gilded everything. The doorbell then rang. I was able to see my parents and Vanessa standing on my porch through the security camera, which was another of Elise's clever ideas. While my mother continued nervously smoothing her luxury dress, Vanessa looked like she was going to a picture shoot, all polished perfection. I inhaled deeply before opening the door. Clara, exclaimed my mother, we've been so worried. Why haven't you answered our calls? And how did you afford this house? The lottery money hasn't even been released yet. Hello, Mother. I interrupted her coolly. Would you like to come in? With hardly disguised astonishment, they filed into my living room and surveyed the wall-to-wall bookshelves and elegant furnishings. With a finger tracing along a shelf, Vanessa remarked, I guess you can now move to a better neighborhood. Perhaps close to my new house? There's a beautiful little colonial for sale. Only $4 million. I'm happy here. I broke off. But thank you for your concern. Maddie, darling, my mother said, leaning forward and her voice brimming with honey. You must comprehend our astonishment. This is money that could change your life. You will require direction, appropriate financial advice. Your father knows a number of outstanding wealth managers. When I said, I have a team of advisors, and it's Clara, not Maddie. Don't be difficult, Vanessa yelled. We're trying to help. God knows you've never been good with money. Like that time I loaned you $10,000 for your starter business. I cocked my head. The one you never paid back? Vanessa's face turned red. That was different. I needed what you needed, I replied slowly, was to take responsibility, something none of you have ever expected from her. Look here, my father said at last, his face flushed. We've always given you both equal support. I chuckled. In fact, I laughed. Equally? You bought Vanessa a mansion for her wedding. You paid for her business school, her first car, her perfect wedding. What did you give me for graduation? A lecture about practical career choices. My mother exclaimed because we worried about you. Your choices were so impractical. You wanted me to be like Vanessa, I said to her. The perfect daughter. The sensible one. I got up and spoke steadily. Well, guess what? My so-called impractical choices led me here. My job at the bookstore, the one you all look down on, is where I bought the winning ticket. Vanessa made another attempt, like she was giving me a present. And now you can finally have a real life. We can help you invest. Get you into the right social circles. No. There was silence in the room. Dad insisted, what do you mean, no? After walking over to my desk, I took out 3 envelopes. This is a cashier's check $4,125,000, repaying the loan you've conveniently forgotten about, I added, giving her the first. I gave the first envelope to Vanessa. Mom, Dad, this is a check for $18,000. The total of every gift, every payment, every contribution you've ever made to my life. I've kept careful records. Unable to speak, they gazed at the envelopes. The third envelope, I said, contains documents showing I've already established my own publishing company, created a charitable foundation for literacy programs, and set up my investments with one of the top firms in the country. I didn't need your guidance then, and I certainly don't need it now. But we're family, my mom muttered quietly. Yes, we are. And family should love unconditionally. Support dreams, not squash them. Celebrate differences, not try to erase them. I approached the door and pulled it open. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with my foundation board about funding new libraries in underserved communities. My father sternly remarked, you're making a mistake. You need us. Feeling lighter than I have in years, I grinned. No, Dad. You need me. And that's the real reason you're here, isn't it? Vanessa got to her feet, a mask of anger covering her face. You think you're better than us now? Because of some lucky numbers. No, Vanessa. I always was. You just never saw it. My mother turned back with tears in her eyes as they walked away. Clara, please. We made a terrible mistake. We see that now. Can't we start over? For the first time, I saw how tiny she appeared when I truly looked at her. How they all seemed. Stuck in their limited conception of value and success. Maybe someday, I muttered. But not today. I walked back to my office after putting an end to their protests. The manuscript for my novel, which tells the narrative of a girl who finds her voice in a world that tries to silence her, was sitting on my desk. The following chapter needed to be written. The Bennett Publishing House launch party, which took place 6 months later, was all I could have imagined. We turned an old warehouse into a lovely place that is brimming with art, books, and opportunities. While children from our literacy program proudly displayed their own stories in a dedicated display area, local authors whose works we had signed mixed with journalists and literary agents. Mr. Walter Finch was standing next to me, grinning like a pleased dad. Look at what you've built, Clara. And not a penny wasted on showing off. He was correct. I could have simply purchased a shiny office tower in the heart of the city, but instead I decided to rehabilitate this old building and make it feel like a home for both writers and readers. I had wisely used the millions I had won to fund educational initiatives, help up-and-coming writers, and create something worthwhile. It buzzed on my phone. Vanessa texted. Saw your company in the business journal. Must be nice having everything handed to you. Bit of bad luck. Bradley lost his job. We could use some family support right now. I didn't reply and erased the note. They had tried everything over the preceding few months: deceit, guilt, phony goodwill, and, at last, direct demands. It seemed that Vanessa's starter mansion was now too small. It was time to renew Mom and Dad's membership in the country club. It was necessary to cover Bradley's unsuccessful investments. I paid them all no attention. Miss Bennett. My sleeve was pulled by a small girl. She was holding a notebook and was a student in our literacy program. Will you read my story? Of course, Lily. I took her to a peaceful nook and sat down at her height. What's it about? The girl said, a girl who finds a magic pen with shyness. Everything she writes comes true. But she has to figure out what's really important to write about. I grin with joy. I came to see that sometimes the most unexpected sources of wisdom can be found. Let's read it together, I requested. And I did. I raised my head. In the informal setting, my mother appeared uneasy as she stood there. Part of her polished beauty was gone. They had had a difficult few months. I was aware that Dad's company had lost a number of important clients. Vanessa's ideal marriage was beginning to show signs of weakness. As their resources decreased, their social circles started to get smaller. Mom, this is a private event. I know. I had to talk to you. She gave Lily a quick look. Alone. I looked at Lily. Why don't you show your story to Miss Sarah? She's our children's book editor. Lily ran off and I turned to my mom. Well, your father's company is failing, she stated plainly. Vanessa's house is being foreclosed. Everything's falling apart. And you're here playing with children's stories. With a flare of rage, I got up. Playing? Look around, Mom. Really look. Look at those kids, they're discovering a love of reading and a confidence in themselves. Look at those writers, they're having opportunities they've never had before. Mom, I'm not playing, I'm actually creating something. But your family has never respected my choices, I replied. Even now you're not here because you care about what I've built. You're here because you need money. She winced. We're still your family. I said, are you? Before guiding her to our wall of success stories, which included pictures of kids reading, authors landing their first book deals, and community initiatives actually changing lives. Families encourage one another's aspirations and celebrate each other's accomplishments. How recently have you inquired about my novel, my objectives, or my happiness? I don't know. Exactly. With a calm voice, I turned to her. The lottery didn't change who I am, Mom. It just gave me the freedom to stop seeking approval I was never going to get. Her eyes welled with tears. We were wrong. I see that now. But can't you forgive us? Forgiveness isn't the issue, I answered softly. I am no longer upset since I forgave you months ago. However, forgiving does not entail allowing someone to continue to harm you. She appeared stunned. What do you want from us? The idea is that I no longer require anything from you, therefore nothing. We have nothing to talk about until you want a relationship with me that isn't centered around money, status, or your definition of success. I noticed a disturbance close to the entryway. Vanessa was here, followed by Dad, Bradley, and to my surprise, Aunt Lorelei. I let out a sigh. You all came to ambush me. At my company's launch. We're desperate. Vanessa exclaimed, her cheeks dripping with mascara. Daddy's business is failing, the bank is seizing our house, and Bradley lost everything in that investment plan. Maddie, please, you must assist us. There was silence in the room. Our visitors made an effort to act as though they weren't paying attention to the drama. I really looked at my family. Dad, deflated and gray without his normal strength. Vanessa is in dire need of a rescue, her high-end clothing now a little tattered. Mom, caught between need and pride. No, I firmly answered. Dad's voice broke. Please. I'll make you all a different offer instead. I took out my phone and opened a picture folder. This is Carter Financial Services. I identified it with a hand gesture. They're looking for experienced advisors with community connections. Dad, they've agreed to interview you for a senior position. No guarantees, but a fair shot. I moved on to the next picture. Vanessa, the local arts center needs a fundraising coordinator. With your social skills and event planning experience, you'd be perfect. Next. Bradley, my friend's construction company is hiring project managers. Real work. Fair pay. Vanessa's expression contorted. You want us to work? For other people? Like I did, I want you to earn your own way. Create something authentic. Discover your identity without having someone else write the check. Discover your identity without the fancy titles and borrowed funds. Dad asked sternly, and if we refuse? Then you'll figure something else out, I remarked coolly. But you won't get a dime from me to maintain the lifestyle that made all of us so unhappy. I was surprised when Vanessa walked forward. The Arts Center. They really think I'd be good at fundraising. Yes, I said with a nod. Because you are good at it when you're actually trying. Not just playing the perfect daughter. Vanessa smudged her pricey mascara as she wiped her eyes. I don't know how to be anything else. Yes, you do. For the first time in months that we had touched, I took her hand. You're smart. Capable. Determined. Use those qualities for something meaningful. Something real. Not just appearances. Dad cleared his throat. The position at Carter Financial. When's the interview? Tomorrow. At 10. Don't wear your Rolex. Show them your experience, not your ego. They nodded one by one. Not pleased. Not appreciative. But maybe considerate. Mom looked back at the door as they walked out. Your company. It's really amazing, Clara. I'm sorry we never saw. I know, I muttered. Maybe someday you'll see me too. When they were gone, Mr. Walter Finch showed up beside me. You okay, kiddo? I observed the stories being shared, the aspirations being realized, and the lives being transformed at my publishing firm. You know what, Mr. Walter Finch? I responded with a smile. I really am. With her notebook in hand, Lily ran back. Miss Bennet. Miss Sarah loved my story. She said maybe someday it could be a real book. I knelt next to her. Want to know a secret, Lily? She gave a wide-eyed nod. Every real book starts with someone brave enough to tell their story. Like me. Like you, I said. Like all of us. Later that evening, I worked on my manuscript while reading in my garden nook. It buzzed on my phone. Vanessa texted. I have an interview at the art center tomorrow. Any advice? Grinning, I typed back. Be yourself. Your real self. I had won more than just millions from the lotto. It had allowed me to demonstrate to myself and my family what true prosperity looked like. Not my bank account balance, but the guts to be exactly who I was supposed to be. And there was no way to quantify the value of that. The freedom to live my life as I see fit, without having to prove my value or beg for affection, was ultimately the sweetest kind of retaliation, not the money. Silence can sometimes speak louder than words. Sometimes the loudest response to betrayal is to create something lovely in peace. Put boundaries in place if you're in pain. Get better. Expand. Make your own closure instead of waiting for an apology. What your pain previously screamed, let your success whisper. Have the people closest to you ever betrayed you? How did you get up? Tell your tale in the space provided below. Who could need to hear it? You never know.